Hey there folks, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you can make it because in today's episode, we got a couple things lined up. Number one, we are going to bring to life an idea that I've had about a pork loin seasoned with all kinds of really fun ingredients and then cooked rotisserie style. So that should be very interesting. Not quite sure how the flavor is going to play out, but we'll certainly see. And the second thing is we get to review a wireless thermometer from Thermomaven. Pretty excited about this. Some of the comments that we've gotten on previous videos that we've made about wireless thermometers mention price, and I totally get it. Some of the units out there aren't cheap. So I got to looking on Amazon and I found this brand, Thermomaven, and it had great reviews, solid construction. This particular model has two probes, but they have one with one probe, and they have an upgraded version with two probes, and then one with four probes. They got a lot of models. And the price is really what caught my attention. But does it do what it claims? So that's what we're going to be finding out in today's video. Let's make that pork loin.
Let's start with a sweet apple. We're using gala, diced up, little cinnamon, about a half a teaspoon, a couple pats of butter into the oven, 350. Then we're going to roast some garlic. Cut the top off, cover with olive oil, and then we're going to cover with foil. Now that's going to go in a 400-degree oven, 30-45 minutes. And this is what the apple looks like coming out. Smells incredible. We're going to pour that into a little container and set it to the side because we now need to check on our garlic. You want to make sure not to over roast the garlic. And this looks great. We're going to add that roasted garlic to the apple mixture. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit of that olive oil to boost up that roasted garlic flavor a bit. To that, we're going to add some Calabrian peppers. Bring a little spicy, smoky, fruity heat to the mix. And into the blender it goes. Right here, we're just basically creating a marinade that we're going to inject into our pork loin just to build on the flavor. So once we get all that in there, we're going to add a little salt, some cracked black pepper. Now at this point, you can add whatever you want. Herbs. Right here, we're adding savory. And we're going to thin it out with a little bit of apple juice. I've got about a third of a cup, half a cup of apple juice. And that looks great. Okay, so close it down. Smells really nice at this point. And that's what it looks like all blended up. Perfect. So what I want to do is just get a really nice smooth consistency so that we don't clog up the needles on the injector system that we're going to be using. And I think that's great. Nice and smooth is what it should look like. There we go. Give it a taste. If you feel like you need to add a little salt, pepper, now's the time to do it. But right here, this is perfect. A little sweet, a little spicy. I think it's salted well. Because we are going to add a little salt to the exterior of the loin when we're done. But right here, injection-wise, I think we're good to go. And yeah, let's get it injected. All right, I love this injector. And what we're going to do is we're just going to rub whatever spilled out on the top right on the pork loin itself. It's not only going to bring great flavor, but it's also going to act as a binder when we coat the top with a rub. Let's go ahead and inject the other side. Get that roasted apple, roasted garlic, pepper mixture in there. Should be pretty nice. Very good. Notice I did truss it up, and we are going to get our rub together. So the rub's going to be pretty simple. Savory, salt. I'm going to be adding some spicy Calabrian pepper and some sweet Calabrian pepper. Give it a mix. Perfect. Now, at this point, you could add garlic, you could add herb, you could add whatever you want. Or you can omit the rub and then later do a glaze if you want to do that. That might be kind of cool as well. You could also add a little sugar, create a nice bark. The choice is yours. We want these flavors to marry, so into the fridge it goes while we get our wireless thermometer set up. So this is by Thermomaven. And first impressions, it's actually got a nice weight to it. It feels very similar to some of the other units we use. Let's go ahead and power it on. And nice big digital readout. And it seems the moment you pull out the probes, it kind of activates it. So while the probes are in there, it's off, and now it's on. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and set it up from the base to do a cook. So we're going to activate probe 1. You've got a manual mode and a smart mode. We're going to go with the smart mode. The smart mode predicts, where the manual mode gives you actual temperature. And for this particular cook, I think we're going to go with something like 145, something like that. So we're going to hit OK, and the prompt lets us adjust whatever's flashing. Same thing on the next one. Smart mode. Very easy to set up, very intuitive. Okay. No problem. In a minute, towards the end of this video, we'll talk about the app, and you have a lot more functions, and you can see that for yourself. But very easy to program from the base itself. There is a little kickstand right there in the back. You are going to want to set this next to the probes somewhere. That's going to be the thing that translates the information. Overall, pretty simple unit. Right here on the right-hand side, you've got the charging port, and you've got an option to, change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and then an option to adjust the volume. Pretty simple. Okay, let's move on. Let's fire up the grill and get these loins cooked. A couple hours have passed. Loin is now out of the fridge. And notice we've cut this into 2 pieces. Really just comes down to how big your loin is. So we're going to separate this onto 2 different spits. And what I want to do is I just want to kind of center it. There we go. That's going to help keep everything nice and balanced. And we're going to do the other one. Same exact thing. Beautiful. Those 2 side prongs are going to help stabilize it while it's spinning. And we're going to insert our probes. So there's a little line that lets you know how far you need to insert it. And that's going to go right to the very center. Other one as well. Perfect. Okay. There, very good. This is going into the Brazilian Flame Rotisserie Grill. Now we're only putting 2 loin, but it has the capability of putting 5. And so you can put 3 more right in there if you want. Very good. Our cook is done. Notice we're in the resting phase. We just hit 145. I went ahead and took the other probe out, cleaned it, stuck it back in the machine, which is why it says off. And our roasted garlic and apple Calabrian pepper pork loin is officially done. Ooh, that smells good. Beautiful.
All right, here we go. We've got our rotisserie Calabrian style pork loin. Check that out. Incredibly juicy. Oh, that looks great. Let me just take a little bite off of this here. Cut this and cut a little piece off of it. Here we go. Oh, that's wonderful. I love those combination. At least the aroma part of it. You're definitely getting the apple, the butter, the cinnamon, the roasted garlic. Ah, the Calabrian pepper, of course, is just so beautiful. The amount of flavor that's packed into that loin is ridiculous. Hang on a minute. Salted perfectly, incredibly tender and super juicy. I didn't know how I was going to like the pepper mixed with the roasted apple, the butter, and the roasted garlic. You know, sometimes the ingredients by themselves are amazing, but then when you start to mix these amazing ingredients, something might go wrong. But all of those ingredients work really well. Wow, I like that combination. Nice crust on the outside from the rotisserie. Definitely has that rotisserie flavor. And interestingly enough, the cinnamon is adding this beautiful note. Like if you didn't know it was there, you'd have a hard time picking it out because it's very subtle, but it's adding this element that's just really nice. It works with all the other ingredients. That actually turned out better than I thought it would. What a nice surprise. And we injected the heck out of it. So all that flavor is really coming through, and I'm loving that roasted apple element inside the pork loin. It's spicy, but Not so much on the inside, if that makes any sense. I feel like the Calabrian peppers that we added, that spiciness might have been balanced out with the sweetness of the apples, maybe a little of that butter. And so it's got a very nice spice on the inside, but the outside, because it had that coating, actually brings a little bit of a stronger kick. The umami level's killing it, obviously. I mean, that savory yeast boosting it on the inside. On the outside, the salt level is perfect. To me, this actually feels very, very festive. I think this would be great anytime, but it feels like it should be served during a holiday or something like that. So tender. Okay, I love it. I'll put a recipe link in the description box below. Let's now talk about one of the tools that we used in this video to cook this perfectly, and that is the wireless thermometer from Thermomaven. This is the P2 model. Like I said, they have lots of different options. Some with 1 probe, some with 4 probes. And as you can see, this one has 2 probes, each one clearly labeled. And I like that, because we use other brands where they're not clearly labeled, and if you've got 150 pounds of pork shoulder, 5-6 probes entered into that smoker, sometimes it gets a little tricky trying to, keep up with the placement of the probes, but I like the fact that they're labeled. The other thing that I noticed about the probe itself is that it's a little bit skinnier than some of the other brands that we use, which maybe doesn't leave that big of a hole, as it's coming out. IPX8, you could wash it, waterproof, and the probe feels like it's a good quality probe. 6 sensors, 1 on the back, measures ambient temperature, and then 5 along the body. All of that temperature information is being fed into the base so that you can get the most precise and accurate temperature, basically, so that your food can come out perfect every time. There's 2 modes with this unit. You saw me use the smart mode today. So there's a manual mode and a smart mode. The manual mode basically means if I want it to be at 140, when it gets to 140, it lets me know. The smart mode predicts when it's going to get to 140. And I was actually surprised to see that feature on this model because of the price, but it is included, and I'll show you what the app looks like here in a second as well. It's a lot easier to work with on the app, but as you saw in today's video, you could use this without the app and it works just fine. As far as connectivity, I didn't have any problems. It uses Bluetooth 5.3, and so you want to keep the base relatively close to where the probes are, but then, if your Bluetooth is activated on your phone, I was able to get about 375 feet, 400 feet. The claim is 500 feet. I couldn't quite get 500 feet. To be fair though, I live in an area where there's a lot of concrete, a lot of obstruction, a lot of metal, and so I was actually pretty surprised to get 400 feet. But honestly, lose the Bluetooth, activate the Wi-Fi, and it is unlimited. You can be in the next town over and still know what's going on with your cook with Wi-Fi, which is typically what I use anyway. Temperature-wise on the probe, you're looking at a max temp of about 750, 752. And so if you're doing any kind of really hot cooks, searing, anything like that, you want to be aware that the max temperature your probe is going to get 752 degrees. And when it came to the battery life on the base, I didn't have a problem with it. Actually, it took a couple hours to charge, so I'd used it until it drained it down, charged it all the way back up, and that took probably 2 hours, and then just kind of played with the probes on and off, doing different things, but without recharging them. And I noticed that the probes had a pretty decent life. I mean, 23, 24 hours, on average 23 to 24 hours for the probes. And then when you insert it back into the unit itself is what's charging the probes. Just a couple of minutes of charging gave me multiple hours of usage for the probes. And so if for whatever reason, you run out of juice in the probe, you can recharge it pretty quick and then stick it back in your food. We're going to take a look at one more thing, and that is the app associated with this wireless thermometer. And what we're looking at right now is the homepage to the P2. Now, connecting the P2 to the phone took, honestly, 60 seconds. Very easy connection. You didn't really have to do anything. Enter the password for your home Wi-Fi. And notice that you could select probe 1 or 2. Now, I've already taken the probes out. We get the option to set up a cook. So you can click manual mode, enter in the temperature, and like I said earlier, when it hits that temperature, it's going to let you know. You'll get a notification. Also, the unit will buzz wherever you have the unit at. Or in smart mode, you can pick, what you want to cook. So in this case, we cooked pork, and you can do steaks, you could do roasts, you could click other. So tongue, jowl, cheek. Well, that's fun. In this case, we did loin, so I'm going to click loin, and right there it gives you suggestions. 145, 143 to 147. You can click medium well, 148 to 153. And then let's just click that, hit yes. Notice the data that you get on this page. It tells you the time remaining. Now, obviously, I'm holding it right here, so we're not actually cooking, but the dots right there on the probe tell you what the temperature is for each one of the sensors. So you've got the 5 sensors along the way and then the ambient sensor on the very end. And that brings me to what is quite possibly my favorite thing about this wireless thermometer: the price. Quality like this, and I'm not even messing around, easily going for 200 bucks and higher online. But as of right now on Amazon, and you know how Amazon is, more than likely it's going to change, but as of right now, this 2-probe wireless thermometer, 109 bucks.
But the folks over at Thermomaven were kind enough to give me a discount code. And so as you can see right here, it's already heavily discounted. After we add it to our cart and enter the discount code, it now brings it down to less than 100 bucks. You'll find that discount code and a link to the product in the description box below.
If 2 probes is a little too much, to say you only find yourself ever really needing 1 probe, check it out. The 1-probe unit from Thermomaven. Same build, but just 1 probe. 49 bucks, get out of here. What can I say? I'm actually impressed, and I would put these up against any of the ones that I have any day of the week. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I'll put a recipe link to that Calabrian apple roasted garlic pork loin in the description box below as well. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.